Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on honestly exposing the evils of the left. And you might think that that's hyperbole, you might think that I'm exaggerating, that I'm being hyper-partisan and hateful, but I'm not. In my view, I'm being objective. In my view, I'm accurately ascribing the term. In my view, right now in politics, there's two types of people. There's people who are blinded by rage and emotion, people who have bought into all the narratives. There's people who hate Donald Trump so much, they've made their core identity hating the evil orange man. A group of people so angry and vindictive that they're willing to essentially usher in what is ostensibly fascism, as long as it means Donald Trump is dealt with. And there's a group of people that's horrified by the whole process. In other words, there's one group that is cheering on government weaponization of agencies, legal attacks and attempted imprisonment of their political opponents, and there's the other side, the other group of people who are simply horrified at what this could mean moving forward, at what kind of precedent this sets, and what this means for America's image on the world stage. There's hardly any in between. You're either, and look, I'm going to use Hillary Clinton's word because I think it actually applies here, you're either a deplorable fascist enabler, blinded by rage, or your eyes are open. That's the base context set for this video. Now let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. Don't need to get into specifics, it's going to make sense. We got Kevin O'Leary on CNN, and it's the perfect example for exactly what I'm talking about. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, friends, so here's Kevin O'Leary on CNN. Just pay attention to the dynamic.
And everybody around the world is watching this. This may be great for the Attorney General, but this is not good for America.
I'm glad you ended with the last very. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known that you emphatically believed your position with that third very for there. But I want to ask you, obviously, Catherine, there is asset and forfeiture laws on the books because they do seize assets. They do forfeit property and beyond.
Scary message. And by the way, there are no such thing as $500 million bonds. There are no $500 million bonds. Never been done before. Never. This law has never been applied. Forget about Trump. Nothing to do with Trump. Everything to do about America and the New York brand. Absolutely horrific.
Well, wait, Kevin, but hold on a second. Kevin,
Trump
what would
will
be
be gone one day. This
hold
Attorney General will be gone one day. And this is what you want to tell people around the world.
I have a wonderful voice, and it won't be talked over. Kevin O'Leary, I would like to hear what you have to say, but
America.
What are you doing?
Not America.
But it's not America, but it is the Laura Coates live show, and I am speaking. So that will be the rule, not Venezuela, nowhere else. Fine, but it's Laura Coates Live. And hello, my name is Laura Coates. The question I want to ask you on this point, though, is what does the reverse say, Kevin, if they do not take action? And I hear your point about you believe there's no fraud and that everyone was made whole.
Yeah, look, I'm surprised that Kevin is wasting his good name defending fraud and lies, which I am convinced, Kevin, you have not committed. To not enforce laws against fraud is just bizarre. That is how it works in Venezuela.
Well, Kevin O'Leary, don't make me regret this, but I'll give you the last word here.
No. I'm like everybody else all around the world, sovereign wealth, pension plans. Everybody in the financial services industry is waiting for adult supervision. We don't have it here yet. This is hurting New York, hurting the people of New York, and hurting the American brand. It is just horrific. Where are the adults? When are they coming?
I'm sure you guys noticed the same thing as me. You have Kevin O'Leary who's clearly outraged, clearly concerned. He understands that this is wrong. You don't even necessarily have to be a legal scholar to understand that what they're doing to Donald Trump is wrong. You can simply feel it in your gut. You have a man expressing outrage, standing on a mountaintop, yelling, "We are headed towards fascism. There's no going back from this. This is so evil and despicable." And then you have the other side, who's part of the elitist cabal, essentially laughing in his face. They're not even interested in what he had to say, smirking and giggling the whole way through. I'm sitting here asking myself, what's funny? Is Kevin O'Leary's frustration funny to you? Is the actual possible end of democracy funny to you? Authoritarian Soviet-style tactics are funny to you? It's absolutely wild. It's the perfect visual and audio representation of exactly what I'm talking about, the exact dynamic that I was alluding to in the intro. You got two sides. One side who's willing to join the powerful group, willing to join the in crowd, and cheer on the bullying essentially, and the other side is willing to stand up against it. That's exactly what's going on, and the ironic part is, after years of calling Donald Trump a bully, oh, he's a bully, we end up seeing who the real bullies are. And one of the most frustrating parts of this interaction is the self-righteous smugness, the way they feel right to make these big, bold statements without actually having to define them. Like how these CNN and MSNBC hacks will say like Donald Trump's a racist. They'll just state it as fact, and they'll say it confidently, therefore it must be true, right? In this case, Donald Trump committed fraud. Well, she said it confidently, therefore it must be true. Well, how about you define that fraud? Oh, well, that's where it gets tricky now, doesn't it? When actual legal definitions come into play, the facts, that's where these leftist hacks lose all credibility. Let's take a look at the actual legal definition of fraud, shall we? Meaning of fraud or dishonesty. The term fraud or dishonesty shall be deemed to encompass all those risks of loss that might arise through dishonest or fraudulent acts in handling of funds as delineated in Code 453.8 and 453.9. As such, the bond must provide recovery for loss occasioned by such acts, even though no personal gain accrues to the person committing the act, and the act is not subject to punishment as a crime or misdemeanor, provided that within the law of the state in which the act is committed, a court would afford recovery under a bond providing protection against fraud or dishonesty. As usually applied under state laws, the term fraud or dishonesty encompasses such matters as larceny, theft, embezzlement, forgery, misappropriation, wrongful abstraction, wrongful conversion, willful misapplication, or any other fraudulent or dishonest acts, wait for it, this is the most important part, resulting in financial loss. In other words, fraud is when you are dishonest with somebody, when you essentially scam somebody, when you hide the truth, or when you fake the numbers, cook the books, in an effort to scam somebody or an entity out of money, enriching yourself at their detriment. How exactly is Trump guilty of fraud if there was no financial loss, no actual damages? The bank was paid back in full, both parties seemingly happy with the interaction and transaction. Where is the fraud? Well, very simply, there was no fraud. There was no fraud perpetrated. Maybe a little bit of embellishment in an effort to secure the biggest construction loan possible. Sure, the idea that that qualifies as defrauding the bank is absurd to literally anybody with two working brain cells. But the pretty media lady on the TV box said it, and she said it with such vigor and confidence, therefore it must be true. Oh, how I feel so bad for your typical leftist bot with no internal monologue, just blindly eating this stuff up. At the end of the day, I think the optics here are quite clear. Joe Rogan's usually my litmus test for how people in the middle are probably feeling. Take a look.
Sometimes people talk and I've heard several times people are like, well, I'm a Democrat, but I don't, why does this keep happening?
It's kind of crazy because it seems like what happens in banana republics.
Uh-huh.
But just somehow or another it's okay. The exact same thing.
Well, because protecting democracy. Yeah.
When they say my building is worth $400 million, you're supposed to say, no, it's worth $300 million. Here's a loan on $300 million. Like to say that that's fraud when he paid the loans back.
Yeah.
This is that is like the epitome of like, what are you doing? Like, what are you chasing? And what have you not chased? What have you not chased down? Can we go over what you have not chased down and you're chasing this down? Is it possible that you're doing this because this guy's running for president?
Right.
Because it kind of seems like it to the world.
Yeah, it looks real.
It looks real
like
suspicious.
Yeah.
It looks real like you're trying to prosecute your political opponent.
That's what it looks like because that's essentially what it is. You have people who get that, you have people who see clearly, and then you have people who are blinded by partisan rage, or you have people who simply don't care and are only pushing the party line. You have people doing evil, and then you have those who are complicit in allowing the evil to continue. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.